Hey everybody, I have a fantastic topic to cover today. It's one that I feel very strongly about because I kind of rely on this element of my photographic setup, and that is reflectors. As you can see, we have quite a few out here today. These are all ones that I use, and they go from our little round 32, which I usually use for a Gobo. We have the classic Lightform P42 panel, which is 72 inches. Then you have the newest replacement for that, which is from Photoflex. Oh, that's back there. I also have a Larson stand-up reflector, which I like very much. We have a small pop-up, which is good for headshots, but not a whole lot else. And this magnificent big 72 by 72 black is for subtractive lighting. It's still a reflector, it's just a negative reflector. It does have silver fabric on the back too, in case you want to use it as a reflector, but I don't, those of you that know me and have watched my videos know I don't love silver for a lot of reasons, but the black is great for subtractive lighting, and I'm going to cover a fantastic secret for you at the end of this little video on reflectors. The first thing we'll look at is what you know from me as a Gobo. It's actually a reflector, gold on one side, white on the other. So we'll pull that up and show you its reflecting qualities. So here is the reflector that everybody knows I use as a Gobo mostly. But as you can see, it is a reflector, gold on one side, white on the other. It's a small one, it's 32 inches, but it is used as a reflector quite often. When it's not a Gobo or a blocking agent, it becomes like a glamour reflector there, okay? Or I can use it for a number of other little hair reflector. I could put it way up here and make it a hair reflector, hair light reflector, but it is nevertheless a reflector. I just have a whole video on this, so I think you should watch that if you haven't already, because I use it more as a blocker than a reflector. Next, we're going to take a look at my favorite large reflector, which is the P42. Very hard to find nowadays. It was a Lightform. Calumet made it for a long time, and now finding exactly it is difficult, but we do have some adequate replacements. So I'm going to show you that next. The famous Lightform Panel used to be called P42, and as you can see, it's a little bit taller than me, which is great. It also has lots of different fabrics. This is the gold side. I never use that. It has white. I have black fabric that changes off on it, and I have translucent. This is a great tool outdoors where you can put like a sailcloth on here, a translucent that just diffuses the light, kind of like what's in the front of the softboxes, and just hold it between the sun and the subject. Now the way this is made, which I love, it's just PVC, and it has these fantastic legs on it that just snap on and off when you're going to go out somewhere. And it makes it kind of a child-proof device because there's no metal parts. But this one's been around probably, I've replaced it every 10 years. And this one's probably been at least 10 to 15 years old. Let's move on to its replacement, which I have found to be the best replacement, even though it's a little smaller. It's from Photoflex. It has the black snap-up PVC frame, and it has legs. You don't have to connect it to a stand or anything. I like that a lot. This is like a baby version of the same thing, wouldn't you say? This is brand new. I keep these in my remote kit. I don't really use them in the studio, though I easily could. This one is used on location because it folds up to next to nothing. And you can change the fabrics on it as well. This is reflective white or super white. Has a similar, this one we have black on the back, which is my preference because I don't ever use the gold, as I mentioned. And it has a great set of legs. These legs snap on and off, much like the other ones. Built similarly, PVC, fold right down to nothing. And this product is Photoflex, and I got it from B&H. It's called LitePanel. LitePanel, so much like the old Lightform panel. And again, I just use the white pretty much for my location kit, but I do have a translucent fabric as well. So I can't tell you how important it is to not have metal parts in the studio with kids. I'd rather use these plastic ones where when they get knocked over, so what? And the other location reflector I'm going to show you now is Larson's, which I've used for probably more than 30, maybe closer to 40 years, and I still have them in my kit. And I'm going to show you that next. Now here's the Larson pop-up reflector, and it is white on one side and silver on the other. You see it's pretty large. It's probably closer to 6 feet or something. And this one has the X frame that's been around for a very long time. It folds down to nothing. It's like an umbrella. However, you do have to generally use the set leg to get it positioned the way you want it. And it does make it a little bit of an intrusion if you're trying to work in the studio. And I'll show you how we fold these up and everything. But they do work well, they pack well, and that's why I keep them in my kit. And the super silver is great. It's a nice soft silver. So if I have to use silver, like for an outdoor setting, I can use it for a background hair light, a kick light. I could just send the sun right back in with this silver. But my most common use, of course, is the white. So we've seen the famous Lightform panel. We've seen its replacement, which is this one here, the Photoflex. And then we have the Westcott. This is a pop-up, and these are everywhere. This one's not quite round, it's kind of, rounded corner. And I got this because it had the zebra on the other side, and there's a lesson on that. However, it is a good reflector, and it will fold up real easily. So this one can be mounted in a boom stand. It could be hung easily with a little clip adapter. If you're doing headshots, you can put it up right here, and it works really well. And these things are everywhere. What you do want, though, is you got to have one of these. Either a Calumet type Lightform, a Larson pop-up reflector, which comes in several sizes, or this new Photoflex LitePanel. Now, lastly, I promised you a great big secret, a great surprise that people, when I teach them this in my class, they go, holy cow, they really do, because it makes so much sense, it's so easy, and nobody does it. Okay, here's your scenario, if I might. You're doing a family outdoors, and you have light, open sky, it's a bright sunny day, and you're controlling your light with reflectors and scrims and whatever. However, you're still getting squinty eyes. There's an answer for relieving squinty eyes, and that's this magical 6-foot black. This is a Larson reflector, X-frame reflector. I take it outside. It's wise too also to have sandbags for these if you're gonna go outside with them, because they do kind of blow over pretty easily. Here's what you do. You put this behind the camera. You don't put it next to the subject. You don't do a whole bunch of normal things with it. What you do is it is behind me when I'm shooting. And when I'm doing that, the subjects are, of course, looking at my camera, surrounded by black. And what that causes them to do is relax their eyes. Their eyes open nicely, even if it's a crazy bright day. If this is behind the lens of your camera, it'll bring comfort to the subject's eyes, and they can look at me while I'm taking their picture without any squints. That works 100% of the time. Now that I've shown you the different components, the different styles of reflectors that we prefer here, I'm going to show you just a little bit behind the scene of how you put them together, how easy or difficult it is to make them pop up and ready for use. Let's go on. So here's the back. We'll take a quick look at it. Again, the X-frame, which just has a spring, we collapse, and this leg bends to both keep it together and to stand it up. So to undo it, we're simply going to collapse it like an umbrella. All right, pull it together and wind it up. And then we're just using the poly bag that came with it all these years to just pack it in here. And you can see how easy it is to take this 6 by 6 foot reflector with you on location, okay? Next, let's go ahead and do the little one. These, of course, there's lessons all over the internet on how to fold them up, but basically just take them in half and fold them up like that and put it back in its case if you got the case for it. Here's the other Larson. We'll do the other Larson, which is the stand-up full-size reflector, super white on this side, and you can change the fabric around, unclip it, flip it, and then you've got super silver on the other side. Folds up the same way. Boom, just like an umbrella, okay? Which was George Larson's original invention for photography, and hence everything was pretty much done that way. So this is your basically 4 by 6 foot reflector right there, easy to put in your camera case, not your camera case, but your lighting rig, and that's done. With the two Larsons done, you can easily see how those go together. We're gonna go ahead and do the Photoflex, which is the one that I take with me in my kit all the time. It's a little different, so I'll show you how to put that guy away. First, just take the fabric off, which again, you can just turn around and use any fabric that you want that fits their panel. It's not terribly expensive either. They might only be, I can't tell you for sure, but I guess fabric like this is probably 69 bucks or something like that. Don't hold me to it, but it's not expensive. Now to put the frame away, we're gonna take the legs off, which just snap off. And then they'll fold up in your bag quite easily. Let's do the other one. Let's pull it off. And that's done. And this one has a bungee in it. So when you take this guy apart, you gotta fold it up like this. All right. Then take these joints apart. They're just snapped in by bungee. Okay, so we just break them apart, and then they should be able to fold down. All right. And it's really soft stuff, so it's not gonna whack you in the face or anything. Take these guys apart, and then you'll be able to fold them up. So, there's your whole frame right there. Okay, that with the legs and the fabric, you have a studio reflector setup. Now, I'm not gonna take this one apart because it's so old and worn out, it's taped up. The joints, here's an original joint right here. This one, if you can see that, this is an elbow joint, and it would just fold up really nice and easy. But after 10 years or more, this one is given up and it's duct taped or gaffer taped. But the legs and such still work the very same way. They just snap off like this, and you've got your legs, and your frame breaks down too. So that's my lesson today on all of the reflectors that we use in the studio, on location, and for specialty needs such as the Super Silver and the gigantic Larson Black. Those are wonderful tools to have, and these are the ones that I will continue to need every day, whether I'm shooting in studio or out. You probably just have, what's popular now is V-flats, which will work. That's just two big boards, hinged together, and they're adequate for using for reflectors. I would highly suggest you look into getting, besides the Gobo, of course, which I totally believe in, is a couple stand-up full-size reflectors, and you'll be much happier in the studio once you do. So thanks for being with us today. Tim Kelly's Master Photo Techniques today on reflectors.